They didn't betray you. You betrayed yourself first, by ignoring what you knew. Most people think betrayal comes out of nowhere, a knife in the back, a sudden storm you couldn't have predicted. But Jung saw the truth hiding in plain sight. We are almost always warned. The first betrayal happens in silence, long before anyone else enters the story. How many times have you ignored your own intuition? You saw the red flags, the inconsistency, the shifting tone, the feeling that something wasn't right. A part of you wanted to leave, to ask questions, to set boundaries. But you silenced that voice. You chose peace over honesty. You stayed quiet, hoping things would change. Jung called this self-abandonment, the decision to betray your own knowing for the comfort of the familiar. He wrote, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls." Betrayal, in Jungian psychology, is rarely a surprise. It is the shadow's warning, ignored. The shadow is everything you hide from yourself. All the instincts, wounds, fears, and truths you've buried because they were too uncomfortable to accept. You pretend not to see them. But the shadow doesn't disappear. It gets louder, it acts out, it draws you into situations where your refusal to face yourself is mirrored in someone else's actions. This is the psychology of repetition. You aren't just unlucky. You're recreating the same story until you finally listen to what your shadow has been screaming all along. Think about the last time you were betrayed. Was it really unexpected? Or was there a moment, a flicker of doubt, a hesitation, a small internal alarm that you brushed aside? Did you justify, explain, or rationalize someone's behavior just to maintain the fantasy? That's not just denial, it's the shadow at work. Jung saw the pattern. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. Every time you ignore your gut, every time you silence your own truth, you set the stage for betrayal. The outside world simply plays the part your unconscious has written. You didn't want to see the truth, so you chose blindness. And what you refused to confront inside, you had to experience outside. This is the real darkness of shadow theory. You don't just attract betrayal. You create the perfect conditions for it by abandoning yourself. Psychologists call it self-abandonment, a habit learned in childhood, reinforced in toxic environments, and cemented by the desire to belong. You learn to doubt your own senses, to ignore the discomfort, to replace your real needs with what's convenient for others. The result? You attract those who are more than willing to treat you as you treat yourself. They didn't fool you. Your silence did. Dark psychology tells us that predators sense weakness, not in your heart, but in your boundaries. Every time you ignore your instincts, you become a blank canvas for someone else's shadow. You let them write your story because you were too afraid to claim your own pen. Why is this cycle so hard to break? Because the shadow loves repetition. It wants you to face what you've buried, to finally wake up and listen. If you refuse, it finds new faces, new situations, the same wound, over and over. You tell yourself, "I'll never let this happen again." But unless you turn inward and confront the shadow, you are doomed to repeat it. Jung wrote, "Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." You think the problem is always out there. The toxic friend, the betraying lover, the untrustworthy colleague. But the real drama is inside, staged by the parts of you you refuse to know. This is not victim blaming. This is the deepest act of responsibility. To see that healing starts with your own willingness to face what hurts. Ask yourself, where did I stay silent when I should have spoken? What did I know, but pretend not to know? How many times did I see the truth and look away out of fear or convenience? These are the cracks where betrayal enters. Not because you deserve pain, but because your shadow is trying to wake you up. Jung called it individuation, the lifelong work of becoming whole by integrating the shadow. Not making yourself perfect, but finally seeing yourself without shame or avoidance. The more you face what's inside, the less you're fooled by what's outside. You become someone who can spot dishonesty, manipulation, and danger, because you no longer deceive yourself. You set boundaries, you speak up, you leave when your intuition whispers, "Run." The real betrayal is self-betrayal. Every silence, every lie you tell yourself, every time you trade your knowing for belonging. Betrayal from others is just the shadow's echo, a last, brutal teacher when you refuse to listen. So how do you break the cycle? Start by listening to your discomfort. Make room for the parts of yourself you've ignored. When something feels off, don't silence it. Get curious. Ask questions, not of them, but of yourself. Let your shadow speak. Because the more conscious you become, the less anyone can betray you. Jung wrote, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls." But you are not most people. You can choose to face the darkness, yours and theirs. So, the next time you sense betrayal on the horizon, remember. The first betrayal is silence. Refuse to abandon yourself. Speak, act, and honor what you know, even if it costs you comfort or approval. That's how you break the pattern. That's how you stop being a victim of your own unconscious story. If you're ready to face your shadow and break the betrayal cycle for good, subscribe for more on Jung, dark psychology, and the path to wholeness. Share your story in the comments. When did your silence cost you the most? Let's awaken together and write a new ending.